Am I the a-hole for being mad with my mother-in-law after she ruined our Hawaii vacation? Help! Me F, 40, and my fiancé M, 53, planned a trip to Hawaii 10 months ago to celebrate my birthday and get him away from a horrible, stressful couple of months, and we cancelled everything 3 days prior our departure date because of my mother-in-law. She F, 73, has multiple health problems but does not take care of herself and uses her health to get my fiancé's attention and manipulates him more than once. Please don't judge me yet and ride with me through this story so you can give me your honest opinion. Let me give you a little context. She has heart problems and her diabetes caused her almost total blindness, among other complications. He has been trying to convince her to pay attention to her conditions, medications, doctor's appointments, and diet, but she does not listen, leading to her health deteriorating and multiple hospitalizations. She always prefers him by her side and not her other 2 daughters. She refuses to live in an assisted living home because it will kill her. Due to her blindness, she almost set the house on fire while cooking, and more than once she did not take the proper amount of insulin and had complications. He pays someone to help her around the house, regardless of the fact that one of her daughters lives 30 minutes away, and often their relationship is stranded due to mother-in-law's actions. My fiancé has had to turn down job promotions in other states because she always tells him that she needs him to be closer, but she doesn't care that her other daughter lives in another state 6 hours away by plane. Every time he has a job offer, all of the sudden she ends up in the hospital due to complications with her diabetes or she is depressed. Several times she mentioned that it is his duty as a son to take care of her until she dies. In early May, her doctors told her she needed open heart surgery and it was scheduled for early June. Our week-long trip was planned for mid-May. She began to passive-aggressive pressure him about the trip because he was going to be away from her before the surgery. We decided to cancel it because we were both worried that something would happen and it would take us almost a day to get back. June arrived, and to our surprise her surgery was postponed indefinitely because her diabetes was out of control due to her not following medical recommendations, and the doctors are forcing her to follow a treatment that will get her in shape for her surgery. This made me very angry, but I haven't said anything to my fiancé because I know it's not the proper time, makes me second-guessing about the relationship, and I don't know if am I the a-hole or not? Update. She doesn't despise me, but reminds me that I am stealing his baby. He is the oldest. It was my idea to bring her over after the surgery to take care of her, but I am afraid that she doesn't want to move out afterwards. Her daughter that lives 30 minutes away took a 1-week vacation to Colombia the week before of my mother-in-law previously scheduled surgery that got cancelled afterwards. He doesn't set boundaries with her because her delicate health. Comments. One Redditor wrote, NTA. She reminds me of my mom and Gram put together. My parents left me with my Gram when I was in high school to take care of her. When I was in college, I went to the local junior college so I could still live with her and take care of her. Whenever I wanted to go anywhere, she would cry and act like she would die if I was gone. I got a scholarship to study abroad and she manipulated me so I didn't go. My mom would manipulate me too, so I stayed and took care of her. My Gram had diabetes, she took her meds, but never exercised and her health got worse. Live your life. Don't put it on hold because she's irresponsible. She's manipulative and your fiancé needs to enjoy his time with you. My Gram would always have some health crisis anytime I was going to take time away from her. Your future mother-in-law sounds the same. He's putting his career on hold for her, putting her in a home, she needs the help, telling him to get POA over her since she's not taking care of herself and is going blind. Another one wrote, Run. Mama is a narcissist. Or, he needs to use and place many boundaries for him, his own well-being and his future. This is affecting him, his life and future as well. This cost him a promotion when it's affecting his job, and not taking a promotion outside, not worth the pay or responsibilities, yikes. They'll stop considering him, and more than likely affect him long-term for all if or when he decides to pursue higher. They'll eventually see he's not willing or able to and consistently overlook or choose others. He's silly in the nicest way to burn himself in more than one way there. She isn't willing to care for herself. This is going to be hard for him to hear or accept. You can't make her. She's a grown woman and you don't have your kids, or particularly just him, resent you for failing to care of herself and shoulder and support, etc. Just enabling behavior that needs to stop. She can't handle life changes or things she is in control of. Ultimately, she's holding attention and space, effectively pausing his life to be her everything while rejecting and refusing her other children. Totally unfair to all and utterly selfish. If she's not trying to change and fix her life, change her diet, seek help from services for this, she's just asking for resentment and asking to burden just one child and those involved with him. If she wants to be around, she needs to care for herself, and he shouldn't be helping her at all if she doesn't seem to want the help, whether surgery, diabetes, whatever. What can he honestly do but run and destroy his life or try to pause it when it's not that way? Life doesn't pause, and it drags everything with it, including you. All he's doing is attending, babying and catering her to her final resting place and be her everything, draining him mentally, emotionally, and essentially destroying his relationship with her. He will eventually, whether he has to lose you to start, or reflect and be angry at being demanded so much of him, doing nothing of substance to enjoy life until her last breath. Then it will be a relief. Talk to mother-in-law about the strains on him mentally, emotionally, how it's going to cause resentment after death if not before. Change, and seek help from all family/friends or services, or risk losing him. He can't be happy he's at her call and she's failing to do basic stuff for herself. She's honestly dead weight and just becoming a burden, and if she's fine with that, by all means continue. I don't know, eventually they'll stop aiding her, getting fed up, and regret if something happens, but she's gotta be responsible for herself and her life choices too. It's gotta be draining to be all for someone you love and feel like intentional harm by not going or aiding, but adding to why she's seeing she's escaped with luck for attention, which will eventually truly become resentment, whether passing or continued behavior. It's going to cost him you, and if you aren't vocal, it's going to build resentment and many setbacks. He needs to wake up. It's not any different than loving an addict, just one for attention. Good luck. Another one wrote, "NTA, but I do have some questions. Firstly, you have every right to be upset that she is making demands and messing up your plans, whether on purpose or not. It's par for the course dealing with the elderly, but keep in mind that at this age it's only going to get worse. Can you deal with this going forward? Now, you said your fiancé pays to have someone be with your mother-in-law, but also that she messes up her meds and almost burns the house down while cooking. Is this person he hired a medical professional or professional caregiver? They should be managing her meds for her and fixing her meals. Is it 24 hours a day or just a couple hours a day? She is definitely a candidate for assisted living, if not a nursing home. You also have to keep in mind that the older they get, the more odd their thinking can get. Both my parents worked at nursing homes, so I was around it a lot. They can become more childlike, e.g. stubborn, toddler-like behavior. My own grandmother started making demands all the time. I finally asked her why she didn't just ask and not make a demand, and she told me, but if I ask, they can say no. We had never once told her no, so there was no basis for this thought process. It just was, and she was younger than your mother-in-law is now. Is your fiancé's father still alive? It could be that she is desperately clinging to your fiancé because she doesn't have a male figure in her life. People her age are part of the last generation that was taught a woman needs a man to take care of her, which could be why she favors her son over her daughters. Now, with all this in mind, can you envision your future going forward with her only getting worse until she passes away, which could be 20+ years? Some people are too stubborn to die regardless of health problems. Can you live like this for the foreseeable future? Your fiancé has been fulfilling this role for the last 53 years, and it more than likely won't change. You need to reevaluate what you want. One Redditor suggested, "Girl, run. It will be like this and only get worse until she dies. So unless you want to wait for that, get out now." Your fiancé will never set boundaries with her, and he is letting her destroy his life. Do not let him destroy yours as well. She chooses to not properly take care of her health because he is enabling her. He gives her more attention when her health is worse, so of course she does this. Not saying it isn't narcissistic and horrible of her, but this is on him just as much as it is her. Unless he does the work, aka goes to therapy, to properly work through whatever makes him this way, and actually calls his mother out on her BS and follow through with enforcing health boundaries, nothing will ever change. Also, he absolutely has to realize that he is causing his mother to be worse, and is contributing to her not doing the work to be healthier than she is, and as a result she is avoiding doing the things like she needs to in order to have this surgery. She absolutely needs to go into a home as well, because there is no way the two of you can be responsible for always watching her, managing her medications, and what not. She is beyond the stage of being able to still live at home in any capacity. And your fiancé needs to realize he is doing a huge disservice to everyone involved by not truly getting her into a place where they can give her all the real help she needs all the time. My husband's grandmother went into a home a few years ago after his grandfather died for similar reasons. Her health was deteriorating really fast. She had accidentally left the stove on a few times, and had a couple bad falls, despite one of her children always being there to try and take care of her. And they only expected her to live maybe another 6 months to a year. She went into a home, and within a few months she was so much better. She has a whole group of friends, is constantly in the game hall and doing crafts, and practically runs the place, lol. She has lived 3 years past what they expected before and looks healthier now than she did 5 years ago. And most importantly, she is so much happier there. OP replies, "Oh my God, your last paragraph is exactly how I presented this to him. We will find a place where she will doing all that, they will make sure they take good care of her, and we will continue to visit her. Also coordinate someone to teach her Braille and how to be more independent. Currently she is depressed because of everything she is going through, but also doesn't spend her free time in a productive way interacting with friends. Every time you call/visit her, the only topics she talks about are how people she knows are sick and are dying, how bad are her health conditions, she feels abandoned because nobody visits her, such is not true, and she doesn't have no one to talk to or do anything with. Trust me is not a 100% a true statement, but after all, who will do it if every time someone is around her feels like being in the most depressing scenario? We tried so many times to change the topic and motivate her to do stuff, but she dragged us back to her misery." To which the Redditor wrote, "Exactly. I promise you she will be so much happier if you find her the right place and just make a point to visit her often. Also, absolutely make a schedule for the entire family, including his sisters, to visit her often too and make them stick to it. It has gotten to the point where my husband's grandmother often will tell her family to leave because she has a card game or something like that to get to, lol. And the visits are so much more enjoyable for her and her family, because instead of her talking about how lonely or bored she is, even though she also always had someone at home with her taking care of her and trying to keep her entertained, she now talks about all the fun she has with her friends and all the activities she is doing. Oh, and she also gets so much better of a diet that she absolutely loves as well, where it was always a fight to get her to eat when she was at home. So that is contributing to her being healthier too. And the real proof that this has been so much better for her is that she has dementia that was getting really bad really fast while she was at home, and her memory has seemed to improve over the last few years, and the dementia has slowed down since being there. So not only has it extended her life expectancy, but she is overall so much healthier physically and mentally than she would have been if they had kept her at home, even if they had gotten her a full-time caretaker. Tell your husband this is the absolute best thing he could do for her. I know there is this societal stigma about throwing your parents in a home, but that is not the case if you find them the right one. And just make sure to really do your due diligence to look up reviews, make sure they aren't doing any shady thing, and take proper care of their patients. If you can, even reach out to other families who have their relatives in the homes and see what their experiences have been. Because don't get me wrong, there are some terrible nursing homes out there, but there are some absolutely fantastic ones too. So, this is the end of these stories. So what you guys think? What actions should the husband take in order to improve their situation, and what should OP do? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Also, if you guys enjoyed these stories, do like and subscribe to our channel. It's free for you guys, but it helps us a lot and keeps us motivated. You guys can also support us by checking out the links in the video description and the channel's About section. Here are some videos you can watch in the meantime. Till then, goodbye.